down with Steffi. Let's dance. Put on your big boy pants.
Hello, happy 4th of July, American patriot Malcolm Nance. Good morning.
Yes, happy 4th of July day yesterday.
Yes.
Yes. As my favorite tweet was, happy 4th to everyone who didn't have to take the 5th about the 6th. There you go.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I see. Kind of bracing to hear President Zelensky talk about democracy, and not just in America, in Ukraine, which is what we're fighting for. This is why this is such a defining moment in our history, right? That we have one party here that does not stand necessarily with democracy.
Right. Well, I'll tell you one thing for absolute certain. Okay, it was jarring. Very jarring to see the contrast between the two sides in the fight for democracy on Twitter yesterday on July 4th. Zelensky talking about the values that America shared that created a great nation are being defended on the battlefields of Ukraine against a totalitarian dictatorship that is backed by the American Republican Party, that is backed by Donald Trump. I mean, it literally would be, imagine if Roosevelt or some Republican opposing Roosevelt decided to side with Adolf Hitler. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's precisely what we're up against. On the other hand, for those of you who weren't on social media yesterday, there were, from the right wing, calling July 4th the original January 6th insurrection.
Yep.
So calling it Happy Insurrection Day. Yep. The American system of government 2 years ago was almost overthrown, and they're cheering for it and trying to make that leap between the uprising against George III then uprising against everything America has ever stood for 247 years. And this is where the Republican Party is. I find it fascinating that they have the utter gall in the same sentence to call people who defend democracy both communist and fascist at the same time.
At the same time.
Their ignorance is stunning.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they spent yesterday doing that.
So speaking of January 6th, I wanted to get your take on Mary McCord, former acting assistant attorney general for national security, your area of expertise. She said a second Trump indictment will be much more severe than the first one, despite the first one dealing with national security. I mean, so much criming, so much serious criming, it is hard to decide. But she said January 6th is almost even more critical of the federal interests. We are talking about the federal government's interest in the peaceful transition of power. That is what has sustained our democracy since its founding. And here, what's being investigated is a very large scheme involving pressure on governors, pressure on a Secretary of State to find fraud that would overturn the results in those states. How do you judge January 6th against the documents case? It's all deadly serious, isn't it?
Well, of course it's deadly serious to me. Look, I'm a Philadelphian. I literally grew up down there at 5th and 6th and Chestnut, Street and Market Street and all those areas that the founding document of American democracy was literally written there. Okay, I got my entire inspiration in my life defending the values that started in Philadelphia at the First and Second Continental Congresses.
Yeah. Not
the people who are in the Trump camp. Okay, the only way I can describe what's happening in America today, all right, is that Republicans are doing the happy dance of civic ignorance. They think that being stupid, all right, about what America's really about is a virtue. And to them, these social media, television tropes of the movie The Patriot, there are people right now in North Carolina opening up Patriot housing developments with, somebody explain this to me. How does the Constitution only get a lane, and, Andrew Jackson gets a boulevard? I mean, this is just utter stupidity. It's like the movie Idiocracy, right?
Do you think the Liberty Bell
is a documentary?
Yes. Do you think the Liberty Bell the Liberty Bell's going to crack again by the time we find out all of Donald Trump's crimes?
I don't even think. Oh my God! I think we're going to have she's talking about a second indictment related to January 6th. I believe that there's going to be a second and quite possibly third indictment related to the documents case.
Me too.
Not
in
only in New Jersey, they're talking about another tranche of 30 to 40 documents in Florida, which are also top secret. These aren't even going to, I don't even think they're going to be superseding indictments. I think it's going to be an avalanche of criminality.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I'm looking for, you all know it, why? Why did he steal these documents? Right. Was he trafficking in them?
Yeah.
That will be the end game for me.
Yeah. Well, I know, and some people think, oh, we use the word traitor too much. I'm like, I don't think you can use it enough by the time we get, also clear and present danger. Tony tweeted Obama to Trump. After Donald Trump shared Barack Obama's home address on his Truth Social platform, an extreme January 6 MAGA fugitive, Taylor Toronto, shows up with 400 rounds of ammunition, bomb-making equipment, and a machete. Fortunately, he was arrested by the Secret Service. How much, and that's the other thing, is anybody else, if he is arrested, hopefully, and when he is arrested for January 6th, that person will be put in jail because he clearly incites violence. That's what January 6th was, and he continues to do it. Right?
Yes, he does continue to do it. By putting Barack Obama's address out there, he was sending a hit squad out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys monitor. I monitor right-wing extremist media and a lot of their mainstream stuff, like the Patriot.win website, which is nuts. Okay, these people are mentally ill. Yeah. They view Barack Obama as literally that crazy painting the guy did of Obama, with horns on his head, burning the Constitution in his hand. This is the most mild-mannered black guy you could ever get.
Yeah.
And to them, he is the foundation of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, and they want him dead. Let me tell you something. For those of you who are listening, I lived in Washington, D.C. I worked and trained with the U.S. Secret Service when I was there. They are not sitting at his front gate. They are sitting block away in every direction. The uniformed Secret Service and the ununiformed Secret Service. In addition, the Washington, D.C. VIP protection division which is part of their special operations, got nothing to do but sit in their cars with long rifles, and they will photo identify every person that goes down the street automatically. And if you come there and you've got a long rifle, these people are itching to kill you. And how that guy got away with not being killed is because he did what all Trumpsters do. They surrender at first sign of law enforcement.
Yeah.
Right? They'll attempt to murder a former president, but they'll walk away, they'll get on their knees and surrender abjectly when confronted. It's really weird.
Yeah. Let's talk about, we just were saying so much to cover. We were only on vacation, basically a week. Stephen Miller wanting to blow up a boat of refugees. Steve Schmidt said, the preservation of human dignity is inexorably linked to the values of human rights and liberty. A democracy does not murder refugees. It's imperative we know where our political leaders draw the line. It's not surprising, but that a general had to say to his face, that's against international law. Yep. You have to be told that?
See, and this is where Stephen Schmidt and General Kelly don't know how to respond properly, okay? If I had been in the room or near the room or in the hallway and had heard about it, okay, I don't care what position of power you're in, okay? I'm a senior non-commissioned officer. My job is to stop and recalibrate stupid, okay? I would have run into that room, I would have slapped him in his face, and I would have said, what the F is wrong with you? All right? You're talking about the murder of people using U.S. weapon systems. I'm going to kick your butt.
You can say ass.
You can say
I'm going to kick your butt just in case you didn't get the message the first time. The fact that General Kelly himself did not do that is a failure of democracy right there.
Yeah. In the moment, you're right. Let's talk about the media in 2016.
He got Shouty McShout face.
He did.
Yeah.
You guys brought up every question that you knew would make me angry.
Oh no! When I saved two tweets, I saved two tweets
of Stephanie Miller now.
You don't need an anger translator like Obama does. No, I saved 2 tweets, just your areas of expertise, but just what happened in 2016, the media's role, and everything you warned about. Lindy Lee tweets, ABC News praised the hate group Moms for Liberty as joyful warriors. 60 Minutes aired a puff piece on them. 60 Minutes normalized terrorist Marjorie Taylor Greene. The Washington Post crowned her queen of the GOP fringe. The money-grubbing media is the handmaiden of fascism. I mean, Donald Trump, I believe he published a list of people he's going to imprison in his second term, including Obama and Hillary and whatever. Has anyone cracked a book about what fascism is, do you think, on their side?
No, and these people are, I've written several books, including handbooks on how to identify the radicalization and the transition into terrorism. These people are one step away from, as we say in the business, going to guns. Someone eventually is going to go to one of those school board meetings, and we've seen threats at these meetings, and they're going to view themselves as protector of the children, and they're going to kill somebody.
Yeah, man.
One of our biggest faults, and this is what these radicals expect, they expect the news media and their opponents to be decent and calm and quiet and rational. The factor that's missing is the one that we use against terrorists like Al-Qaeda. We don't shame them enough. And I wrote an op-ed right after January 6th saying, you have to shame these people. Shame them hard. Call them terrorists. They hate that. Tell them they're the equivalent of Al-Qaeda. Tell them that they're the radicalization. They're the cancer that's infecting the American experiment. This is the thing that they think is that they're the heroes in this story. And you have to recalibrate that. But they rely on your common decency to never get in their face, to never call them, what did they say? A-holes with casseroles and things like that. But, this is like, the female branch of American Al-Qaeda, and this is and they should be called that. And they know it. They know it. But you know what? They have that inherent threat.
Wait, there was another new one. What's the other new one for Moms for Liberty? I forget.
The what?
The minivan Taliban.
And the what?
Minivan Taliban. There you go. Okay.
Minivan Taliban. Very well put. Minivan Taliban ladies division.
So
right?
The last tweet I say for you is Christopher Boozy, because I don't know if you heard this story I told on the air, Malcolm. A redneck guy that owned a business that closed across from my mom's nursing home in Rubywood, North Carolina. He has a Gavin Newsom sucks sign. His window. Not sure what Gavin Newsom has to do with his business failing. Anyway, I ended up chatting with him. I said, you voted for Trump, right? And he said, yeah, but I wouldn't do it again. And I was like, all right, high five. And then I'm thinking, oh, this is great. And as I'm leaving, he goes, I like that RFK, though. I was like,
What? What?
Yeah.
I know. But anyway, Christopher Boozy said 6 years ago, some of y'all effed around and didn't vote for Hillary, and Roe v. Wade was overturned, and now affirmative action has ended. So stop effing around with Biden's too old, or I'm not going to vote unless before this turns into Handmaid's Tale, which may be too late in that some senses.
Another documentary that we appear to be prepping for, which is not a joke anymore.
No.
All right. Most of the time I have to deal in national security. And when I get on here and I do all these socially liberal shouty things as a center right liberal, center left liberal, I find out that there are people out there who thinks that our candidates, Joe Biden, too old. Mitch McConnell's what, 84?
Yeah.
Right? And he's willing to topple everything. He's going to go to his 90s. We have to understand it is our values that are under attack here. Okay? Yeah. It is our belief system. And they are relying on your laziness. They are relying on you being apathetic. They're relying on you hating on Kamala Harris. If something happens to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris is the nominee. Period. Done. There won't be any primaries here. You've got Robert F. Kennedy, a nut who has been sent, an anti-vax nut, who has been sent by Roger Stone and Steve Bannon, recruited him. This guy is out there, obviously on steroids, who is spouting off all these crazy things, who claims to call himself a Democrat. He should be allowed into nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. The way the Republicans won't allow, anybody who doesn't support Trump, we should do the same thing. If you're not there, You're not a Democrat. You have no record of it. Out you go.
He is the Jill Stein of Tulsi Gabbard of Christian cinemas, in my opinion.
Exactly.
On steroids.
On steroids, yes.
Read everything Malcolm Nance
Yes.
writes. We've linked to all of it. And Black Man
Subscribe
Spy.
to Substack because Twitter is breaking.
Yes,
I
it is.
suspended
It broke for me over the
36
weekend.
hours the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go to my malcolmnance.substack.com. Give me $7. All right.
Yeah.
Because like Frangela, this is now my primary business.
There you go. Support this Black-operated business, please. The Stephanie Miller Show thanks you. All right.
Yeah.
Love you, Malcolm. See you
Thanks,
next week.
Malcolm.
Bye-bye. See
Bye-bye.
you.
All right.